Free agency reports continue to escalate surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays as a brand new report from Jeff Passan has revealed some interesting insights into the Toronto Blue Jays plans and as well who they are pursuing. And one third baseman has Jays fans a little bit interested. We're going to break that down as well as discuss an update surrounding Corbin Burns. So lots to go over today. But before you get into it, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. If you're a part of the 70 or so percent who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. And Peter is here. He'll be tuning in via audio in a moment here. But Peter, there's a lot to go over today, and Jeff Passan broke the silence. He doesn't post and report too often, but when he does, you have to listen. We also have some reports from Jon Morosi and other reporters, but I'm just going to start with this one here from Ken Rosenthal as well, who dropped a report. And he said, we'll start with this. We'll get into the Passan one after. I see Bregman leaving, and Ken Rosenthal thinks the Jays and the Red Sox are the most likely landing spots for Alex Bregman at this point. So linking the Jays and the Red Sox. We'll get into the, like I mentioned, the Passan report here in a minute. But Peter, it seems like in a bit of a surprising turn of event here, the Jays are pursuing at this moment Alex Bregman following them missing out on a lot of players, including Cody Bellinger.
I like it personally, and I know a lot of fans are not really in on the Alex Bregman trade, but on the Alex Bregman train, that is. But the Houston Astros seem to be going in a totally different direction right now. We know that they tried to trade for Nolan Arenado. He ended up blocking that trade because he didn't want to go to Houston. Kyle Tucker got traded away. So the American League, whether you get Alex Bregman or not, the American League is so wide open right now, Nick, that it seems like the Yankees are at the top, and then every other team has a chance to compete for the American League title and to represent the league in the World Series. So with the few additions that you need to make, you're going to give yourself a chance to ultimately do that. And I don't know if Bregman is the answer to all the Blue Jays problems. I'm a little bit higher on him than you are on him personally, but I think he's a solid player, man. And contract might not age well. We might have another George Springer situation on our hands, but I think with the landscape of the American League here, you got to give this a try if the money is right.
Yeah, and I had his stats up while you were speaking. You can see last season his worst year of his career, putting up a 768 OPS. He still was 18% better than league average, as well as putting up a 4.1 WAR. And you mentioned how you're higher on him than I am. I would still stand by that, but I'm starting to lean more towards it. Do I think the contract starter is going to age well? I don't necessarily think that. But if you're the Jays right now, let's say you land, for sake of argument, one of Santander or, of course, one of the many options that's available. Teoscar Hernandez obviously comes to mind as well. Jack Peterson. You need to go out and get another stud. So if they make a trade for Alex Bregman, they sign Teoscar or Santander, and then they get one of the maybe B options regarding starting pitching, whether that's Sean Manaea. There's a lot of different guys available. That makes this make a lot more sense, and it's probably why the Jays are all in on it. And you think about what they tried to get with Cody Bellinger. We know that they were the runner-up. They basically, Brian Cashman came out and kind of called the Jays out, saying they were the one team that, he didn't name the Jays, but said one other team would have snagged him. So I think the Jays aren't opposed to, making a big signing. Now, you sign Alex Bregman, you sign Teoscar Hernandez, and then you maybe make another trade. That would be interesting. And the Astros are not showing any willingness to re-sign Bregman whatsoever. And you can see this here from Jeff Passan. He says, quite frankly, the Jays need a third baseman, as do the Red Sox. And he basically goes on to say that, the Jays could be a very interesting fit for them and that they need a third baseman. And they do. I think they're kind of probably, varying the options between a guy like Yoan Moncada. Alex Bregman's obviously a bit riskier, but if you add and sign Alex Bregman, you sign Anthony Santander, then you're in a pretty decent spot if you just add one more starting pitcher. But you have other teams like the Red Sox who are in hot pursuit of Alex Bregman as well. And I think that's their biggest competition. And that's what Jon Morosi said. Ken Rosenthal also linked the Jays and Red Sox. So that's three different reporters, including Jeff Passan, who are saying at this point that Alex Bregman is kind of not down to the, Jays and Red Sox at this point. You still have the Yankees, Tigers, other people, and other teams lurking in. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is honestly the move that the Jays make, and this is their big splash of the offseason by signing this guy.
The thing is, Nick, that you're trying to say here, it would be a perfect offseason if you get Bregman and Santander or Teoscar Hernandez, but I just want to see them get one of these guys. And it might be wishful thinking to even suggest that they could get both. First, we were talking about Corbin Burns and how that signing was going to go down. It was between the Giants and the Jays. Now we might not even get a signature before the new year. Now we're talking about Santander, Teoscar Hernandez. Again, things seem to have really slowed down here in terms of free agency and just the overall market. So I'm not holding my breath for any decision to happen within the next week or so, especially now with the holidays right around the corner. So I would like Bregman Hernandez or Anthony Santander. Uh, I just don't know where the Blue Jays have them on their priority list. Would they have Bregman a little bit further at the top because they need a guy who can play third base every day? Or do they have faith in Ernie Clement to hold down that position and really want to go for a power hitting outfielder? We don't know what their direction is going to be here, but we know that they need an offensive first player or at least someone that can contribute power to this lineup because they're just not good enough as currently constructed.
Yeah, and you look at the Jays, or I mean the free agency as a whole. You see this as a part of the Jeff Passan article. The top two remaining top of the market targets and free agents are, like you mentioned, Corbin Burnes and Alex Bregman, who are both Scott Boras clients. And a likely signing date is after Christmas. And the cost to sign Burnes is likely to exceed Fried's deal, and Bregman's payday could be in the $200 or $200 million range as well. Very strong market. The Jays, the Giants, Boston, Baltimore are the biggest teams with payroll flexibility, but we're looking until after Christmas for these guys. So I would like to think the Jays will try to get a step up on some of the other teams at least and sign one of Teoscar or Anthony Santander before that happens, because again, like Jeff Passan says, it's likely that Bregman and Burnes won't sign until after Christmas. And we remember a couple weeks ago, Ken Rosenthal, or I believe it was Ken Rosenthal or John Morosi, one of the two, came out and said, hey, I think it was Ken Rosenthal, Corbin Burnes, according to Ken Rosenthal, was going to sign by the end of this week, which was last week at the time of him saying that. And that clearly wasn't the case. So Scott Boras is holding out. And with each moment that goes on, I'm not a huge fan of the Jays' chances surrounding Corbin Burnes, just given the fact that, I think he wants to be a Giant and he's holding out for a payday. But Peter, we're going to have to wait in all likelihood for at least another week or so until, or maybe even a little bit longer, until the two big fish are gone. But in the meantime, I think Ross Atkins should go out and get a guy like Teo or Anthony Santander, overpay a little bit to help set their team up better and also help them in future acquisitions and kind of figure out what their team is looking like before they go out and spend $200 to $300 million on Alex Bregman.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that happening. And again, on my wish list, I would definitely have Santander or Teoscar Hernandez at the top. I don't know what to make of this. I thought the free agents would start flying after the signature of Juan Soto, but it hasn't been the case. And we've seen holdouts. We've seen guys wait for the longest deal or the largest deal. Truly don't know which direction this is going to go in, but Blue Jays have some serious work to do. And it all starts with acquiring a power bat, which is why I don't really think they're going to be in on Corbin Burnes. They might be. They might have the highest offer, but I don't know if they're going to be willing to sacrifice all of their time and resources on the Corbin Burnes front if they have a gaping hole at third base or in the outfield or in the middle of their lineup. So it's going to be cool to watch how this offseason unfolds because they've already been more active than they were last offseason. So that's a good sign. But the bulk of the work has not been done. The major moves have not been made. Will we see major moves? Only time will tell. But if they want to be competitive in a pretty weak American League, they're going to have to make some significant changes, I would say.
Yeah. And ultimately, we'll keep you updated with all the news, I hope. And it seems like Santander to Oscar should have a resolution before Christmas. But let us know down below what your thoughts are on all this. A lot of things are moving, and we're going to keep you up to date. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys later.